Hello, welcome to AOS Wargamer. My mic isn't working, which I think is an issue there. Big old pause. And I think it's going to keep happening again. So in order to fix that, I'm going to straight up fix it. Before we go any further, but hello, welcome to AOS Wargamer, and welcome to Monday's Q&A. This is not going 100% great. There we go. You might be hearing me twice now, so I'll fix that for you. Let me know if you are hearing me twice, which I think you might be. There you go. How's that for you, dudes? Boom! Curse Norwegian Air breaking all of our shit. Let me just make it so you guys can hear me through both channels, so it's not super weird. There we go. Right, sorted. Hello! One day I'll start a stream without any worries, and that day, by the way, if there's a NOOB Q&A streamer out there for streamers, please let me know, because I think I need them. Right, anyway, welcome to the show. Hello, it's Monday. Mondays we do NOOB Q&A session, brought to you by everyone on the Honest Wargamer Patreon. Thank you very much. They are blessed and powerful, and they are in the Grot Gang. Can I ask everyone, how do you feel about the name Grot Gang for like the Twitch chat for the Honest Wargamer? The Grot Gang. Would you guys want to be in the Grot Gang? Do you want to be the Grot Gang? That's the real question I want you to answer. Also, how are you all on this Monday? What hobby projects are you doing and what you're up to? So this for the next hour is just a Q&A, just any questions you've got, any thoughts, anything you want to share, and we'll have a chat about it. T-shirts are on the way, I think, or by Phil, if that's the question. So that's the next hour. That's what we're going to be hanging tonight. Monday night, Nathan Prescott will be regaling us with the power and awesomeness that is the Caradron Overlords. So prepare yourselves for what is probably going to be a very enthusiastic Nathan Prescott, which is genuinely quite scary, because who knows what he's going to, think. He says it's very, very good. I'm not sure. Yeah. So the Grot Gang. Yeah. I think that's a good name. Hashtag Grot Gang. Hashtag Grot Gang. Hashtag Grot Gang. Because it's kind of like a chat gang thing, right? Yeah, the Grot Gang, baby. I know we've always been the Grot Gang. I just thought it was a cool moniker or nickname. I'm a Grot bot, says Twitch for the Okay. So Shadowhammer, you're painting OBR for Cancon. Oh dear. So Cancon, obviously, 11 days away. Very excited. I can tell you guys something now, which is really thrilling. As of yesterday, someone bought my Chaos Dwarf army. I am sad about that. Don't get me wrong. However, touch wood. I'll touch this bit of wood and my head. I think that means that I've got enough money to get a live roving camera around Cancon. So, there'll be a guy with a camera, or a lady with a camera, because Gemma is working on the stream, with a microphone, and be able to go around to tables, show you tables, and tell you what's happening all at the same time. Tell me that isn't awesome. Tell me that isn't awesome. Also, if you are in our Discord, the Honest Wargamer Discord, you can show some pictures, like Rambo Squirrel just did. Just got back into AOS again, and a whole Iron Jaws army, and has done some conversions. Let's have a look at this bad boy, shall we? Not bad. Not bad. I got to say that War Chanter that people are rocking is comfortably one of the coolest models to Kit Bash, I think. Oh yeah, the Grot Cam. That's what it's going to be called. Hashtag Grot Cam. So you guys are going to go to the Grot Cam? Feel sorry for the occult stunties, but that is cool. I also am sad to see me teeny dwarves go. It's going to a lovely man in America. But I've got my Zinch army to play with this year, so I'm okay. Plus, Slaves to Darkness. Kenny Lol has asked a question on Patreon, so that's going to be the first question I answer today, and hope you guys get on with it. Shadowhammer says, you're painting OBR for Cancon. Why do you think you're so screwed? Shadowhammer is my question. Angle says, I'm doing Zinch list, loving the variety explosion in the new tome. I agree. Can we talk about very quickly one of the cool things in the Slaves to Darkness battle tome that's good for Tzeentch, which is the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount. 8 wounds, 4+ save, movement 10. 4 attacks with his Warhammer, 3/3 Ren 1/2 damage. However, he's got the demon and mortal keyword. So if you build a Tzeentch list and you want to make a combat character, the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount is a great shout. Because he's also got his Cursed Warhammer. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a Cursed Warhammer is a 6, that attack inflicts 2 mortal wounds on the target. He's got at the end of the combat phase, if any model was slain by wounds inflicted by the Warhammer, he heals D3 wounds. He's got 4 up save base. So genuinely a good option for a Chaos Lord. In fact, let's go have a quick look at what weapons we could potentially give him, because he's got the demon and he's got the mortal keyword. So all those really cool demon weapons that you can take, you can give to this guy. I think that there's a thought that it might get FAQ'd, but that it also may not. So you never know. Let's have a look at it here. So with the artifacts for demons, pick 1 melee weapon, unmodified hit roll of 6, inflicts 2 mortal wounds on top, a Warpfire Blade, so you'd be able to do 4 mortal wounds for every 6s to hit with 4 attacks. Sentient weapons, unmodified melee hit rolls of 6, destroy the target's artifact. Super interesting. Blade of Fate, pick 1 melee weapon, once per battle, unmodified hit roll of a 6, replace the Destiny dice with a 6 on an unmodified hit roll of a 6. So generate Destiny dice, but that's only once per battle. Soul Eater, pick 1 melee weapon, +1 weapons attacks after slaying enemy heroes, which is not that big. Phantasmal weapons improve the Ren by 1, so it'd be a Ren 2 sword. And then the Pyrostave, pick 1 melee weapon. Any wounds inflicted by this weapon to an enemy wizard does not slay it. It cannot unbind spells for the rest of the battle. Right? Interesting. So I don't know what you guys think of that, but I think that's an interesting one. Haley Bromley, how are you? I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope everything's going well. I'll be seeing you at Sheffield Slaughter with some Beastcore Raiders, I know that. Good thing too, because anyone who collects Iron Jaws has 100 War Chanters from the start collecting. Yes, they do. Okay, so Chaos Lord and Demonic Mount, very interesting. So the question I got from Kenny Lol is he was asking me about the Warcry warbands. So Angle, a free Destiny 6 on a hit roll if you want anyway is fairly tasty. It is, but it's once per battle. So is that really worth taking an artifact for? So yeah, the question we had from Kenny Lowe was, he said, can you talk about the Warcry warbands, and can you talk about making an army list with them? So I'm going to do a little bit better than that. I'm also going to include, and a big shout out to Nick Hohen from the Dwellers Below, I'm also going to include a couple of units from Warcry as well, which I think are a big deal. Now, some people may or may not have been talking about these, but we'll talk about them in a little bit of detail. So you've got the Furies, which I'm just trying to furiously find them. It's okay, don't worry, I'm here for the jokes all week. By the way, please join me on Friday for the show on Friday. Very excited about the show on Friday. So obviously, one of the things that I've desperately been trying to do for the whole of last year and not found time. Also, when you see some of the announcements and launches of some of the things that we're doing at the end of this week and Cancon, you'll understand why I've been quite so busy for the past year, but more on that later. The real question, or the real thing that I'd like to talk to you guys about on Friday is I've never had much time to prep for a tournament, especially as a commentator. So I wanted to go through on Friday and have a conversation about the different armies and make some jokes up that would work in game. So obviously when Sylvaneth play, I've only had to rely on my wit, which has been quite weak, to make tree-based puns. But there might be a whole range of jokes or gags that we might be able to apply to some armies when we're doing commentary when we're at Cancon. So I would really like you guys to join me on Friday and talk that through. I think that'd be super fun. So get your notebooks and joke books ready so we can get into it, because I think that's going to be a really fun show. Right, let me look at Furies. Right, so in Slaves to Darkness, you've got Furies, and these things are amazing. They move 12 inches, and they've got 2 wounds, but they have no save, which is fine. They've got 2 attacks each, hit on a 4, wound on 3, rend of 1, which is pretty rad, yeah? And let me just double check how many you get in a unit. I think you get them in 3s, but I'm just going to double check. Again, I haven't seen anyone playing these. If you're playing Chaos, I think this is a really good choice, because, well, we'll talk about that in a moment. But so we're going to add a unit of Furies. There are 100 points, yes, for 6 of them, 2 wounds each. So 100 points for 6 of them. Now, they're basically skinks for Chaos. In the combat phase, when you pick this unit to fight, you can say it will cower instead of fighting. If you do so, this unit must make a normal move and must retreat. And it's got 12 inches, but importantly, it's got fly. So a unit of 6 Furies, 100 points, move them 12 inches, charge, get into combat, your turn, activate first, fly onto an objective. Really powerful. Really good. Amazing for grabbing objectives. I know that Furies aren't one of the warbands, but I was just starting off with Furies because they're little talked about, and I just wanted to talk about them. And I also think, even though the new Furies are really pretty, you could use Raptrix instead, because I think they look really nice. But you can be as pedantic as you want, Grobdugda. That's fine. We're all just hanging out. That's the point. And it doesn't bother me at all. In any way, shape or form. Right, okay, the warbands. Okay, so Kenny was super interested about this, and there's not tons to say about the warbands, but we'll try anyway. So you got the Iron Golems. They've got a 4-up save. Now that's good, yeah. They move 8 inches. They move 5 inches. They're bravery 6, so that is bad. 1 in every 8 models. This unit has an Ogre Breacher, and that has 3 wounds each. Yeah. 1 in every 8 models must be a signifier, and that adds 2 to the bravery characteristics of this unit, so it's bravery 8. And 1 in every 8 models of this unit must be a dominar, and add 1 to the attacks characteristics of dominar's melee weapons. Now they've got a combined profile of 1 attack each, 4s to hit, 4s to wound, no rend, and 1 damage. Right? And their ability is you can reroll save rolls for attacks that target this unit if this unit has not made a normal move in the same turn. So if it just plonks its ass on an objective and sits down, it can reroll. Now, that's not particularly solid, in my opinion. The reroll saves is the reason I think that you would maybe look to play with the Iron Golems if you were going to. But I wanted to compare them to the Furies that you could use as well. These guys can't be battle lines, so they're not really that useful. However, the thing to talk about is the Chaos War Shrine, because the Chaos War Shrine can affect things that have got the Slaves to Darkness keyword, because you can do... in addition, if you Nurgle, so you can reroll hit and wound rolls for attacks made by this unit until your next hero phase. If you do the Favor of Chaos, I think. Yeah, that's right. Reroll charge rolls for that unit. Yeah, so you can't do that. Anyway, so you could use the War Shrine on it to give it, to use its Aura of Protection, which is 18 inches. And on a 6, the mortal wound is negated. So you could make them have reroll saves and negate the mortal wounds as well because of the Chaos War Shrine. But I don't 100% rate it. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, the Iron Golems are your tanky option, but they're not as tanky as Chaos Knights. They're not for wounds on the board. They don't have the output. They're not as tanky as Chaos Warriors. They don't have the output of Chaos Marauders. They don't have the board presence of Chaos Warriors. I would use Iron Golems to proxy Marauders, but they aren't great. The top pick, and I've talked about these so many times, that my new Zinch list includes 3 units of which I put up on the Patreon earlier, as include 3 units of these, 3 units of 9 of the Untamed Beasts. And that's because for me they are the standout unit in Chaos at the minute, because they do something which you can't do in whole other subfactions. Other subfactions can't even make this move. Not subfactions, sorry, Grand Alliances. So the fact that you can do this in Chaos and you can ally it into any army is massive. let me walk you through why I think this is a big deal. So what they do is scout. So they make a 6-inch move at the start of the game. Okay. The reason I think it's a huge deal is armies race to the bottom. So they work as hard as they can to get into a 1-drop situation. That's what they do. Now, with the new Tzeentch book, which I'm sure everyone has seen, but in case you haven't, the Tzeentch book allows you to make the most obnoxious 1-drops. You could just double teleport 2 units of 12 flamers, run up an exalted flamer behind it. You can have these guys with rend 1, you could have them 2s and 2s, you can have them doing obnoxious damage on the first turn. Now, will they survive when they get hit back? Maybe, maybe not. But they can. Or you could teleport 2 units of 20 pinks, charge them in, block up your opponent. There's a bunch of options. So everyone has to now ask themselves, and I have to ask myself when I'm writing any army list, it doesn't matter what army list it is, can I survive with enough units that I need against that level of teleporting, first turn alpha striking, afternoon wargaming dad? Can I do that? And if I can't, how can I stop it? So if you're a Tzeentch player or a Slash player or you're a Khorne player and you would like to not be alpha struck so your whole army doesn't get taken out, or enough of your army doesn't get taken out that you can't play the game to win, you're going to need to learn what to do. And for me, this unit of Untamed Beast is the best unit that Chaos has. Like I say, Grand Alliance can't take it. So what you're able to do is just make a 6-inch bubble. Now, if the deployment zone, so they move 6 inches forward. If the deployment zone is only 12 inches, you could backboard your units 18 inches away from your Untamed Beast. And then even if they teleport, they have to be 3 inches away from the Untamed Beast unit, which means that you're going to have a 21-inch gap, which most shooting, which is scary, doesn't go over that 21-inch gap. So you're safe. Same if they're deep striking a combat unit, they're hitting in the middle. Are they really better than Ungor Raiders, though, says Grobda? Well, let's go and have a look, because that's a great question and worth having a conversation about. Either way, whether or not you're taking Ungor Raiders or you're taking Untamed Beasts, I don't know why this isn't working. Oh, there you go, Beast of Chaos, that's what we want. There we go. So Ungor Raiders, at the start of the game, after armies set up before the first battle round begins, this unit can move up to 6 inches. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, can you even ally in the Ungor Raiders? If you can, then you're good. Tomb King Tristan, welcome to it's not called the Chat Gang anymore, it's called the Grot Gang. The Grot Gang. That's right, Grot Gang, Grot Gang. I'm going to make a little emoji for this hashtag Grot Gang. That's what we're going to do. Anyway, so if you do have your 10 Ungor Raiders, which you can do as well, they got a 6-up save, they got 1 wound each. In close combat, they're rubbish, but they do have a bow attack, 18 inches, 1 attack, 4s and 4s. So the bow attack is genuinely good. And after the army set up, before the first battle round begins, this unit can move up 6 inches. So you can use these guys as well. And then you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by this unit with missed weapons if it has 20 or more models. Blah, de, blah, de, blah. So Angle said, would you say you'd need at least 3 units for coverage, or 2 would cover most situations? Now, remember, when you're using allies, you can only have 1 ally for every 4 units in your army. Also, don't forget that you can only have 400 points worth of allies in a 2,000 point match. I personally think 3 units is really good. Knowing that I'm going to create this, so knowing that I can't create a 1-drop, and knowing that I have this utility in my army, I've decided, for me personally, to go MSU in the backboard. Because I can do 1 unit of Ungor Raiders or Untamed Beasts, 1 unit, 1 unit. So I've got 3 drops where you don't know what the hell is happening before I even get to anything remotely important. Now, if I'm doing battle line units as well, which maybe I've got them in little 10s, maybe they're not that important. In the list that I've currently written, it's 3 units of 3 flamers. I've actually had 4 units of 3 flamers included in my army. Again, another unit of flamers, another unit of flamers, although I probably wouldn't because they're my threat. So I would put down line, line, line. There's 3 drops, and then just keep going. So I would try and get as many drops as possible, because these people who are racing to the bottom, yes, the battalion, they can individually put their units down as well, but you could make it so that you can try and see where their key threats are, knowing that the first turn is safe for you, pretty much. So I'm thinking that both Raiders and Untamed Beasts die to whatever you put them into them, but the Raiders are trouble for your opponent with ranged attacks if they're left around. It's a good point. That's a good... I didn't know you could do that, Tristan. That's interesting. Is 4 drops too many? 4 drops is... Well, previously, so the biggest issue currently that there was, and Helgamar, I'll try and get back to your question in a minute. When you're talking about drops, 4 was the point, and now it's 1. Now it's 1 drop. Tzeentch can just do, Nurgle can do in Slaves to Darkness, 1 drop. So you've got to decide whether or not you can suffer the damage that's coming from that 1 drop, or you cannot. And I think some people will not be able to suffer that damage. That's really, it's before you take a turn, it's before you do any buffs. Is that army going to be able to do so much damage to you that you can't do anything about it? What is someone in the Discord has just done us a Tuffy ears. Yo, Rob, been following your antics as well with DVDs. Did you ever get your Fishman army? I did. It was a 2-year joke I was making about Idoneth Deepkin. But that's a cool looking Archeon you've got there. Nice job. Oh, that's the wrong button. Okay, back to the show. Back to 1. Yeah, so now it's just 1 drops. Just 1 drops. And do I think Tzeentch will beat every army in the game? No. I don't think that. That isn't what I'm saying. So you definitely 100% need to think about whether or not you can survive that first turn, because now it's 100% going to happen. Tzeentch are already a popular faction. They're going to be more popular now. It's very easy to do. It's not complicated. It doesn't require much thought. You basically pick up your units, you go do the thing. You can do it with the Flamers. This is specifically with horror units in the Change Host, so the ability to just push and do the thing. So you have to ask yourself, and I think these scouting units are the way to do that. Hey Brucimus, shame because I was gearing for a 1-drop Nurgle Slave Startness. Did you really want one? I think you can do one. It just doesn't have the Demon Prince in, which I think a lot of people want to take the power off. I would also agree with Grobugda that the Ungol Raiders are arguably better than the Untamed Beasts because of the Raider bows. So you're able to move up 6 in the start of the turn, 18-inch shooting. So you've got those 3 units of 10. You're going to have 30 shots, 4s and 4s, so you can threaten something. I don't think you're going to kill anything, but you can threaten something, which is quite fun. So if you're playing Chaos, they're a great choice. And again, if you really want what I think are some nice looking models, you can do the Untamed Beasts as a way of doing the scouting move. Now, Bruce says, yep, tried that on Friday. 2 drops, still got my first turn versus Bone Reapers, but got battered by them. Yeah. Angle says, I'm making a point of playing Cult Tzeentch rather than Demons, with the exception of the Gaunt Summoner. Why couldn't you take the Gaunt Summoner? It's just so good. It's so good. Now, with the power of demons coming out, and with Seraphon always being the huge anti-demon army, you would hope that when the Seraphon books come out very, very soon, you would expect that it to have some huge anti-demon mechanics, and this should mitigate the Tzeentchian threat. We've also got the FAQ coming up, so some of this information may change when the FAQ arrives. Okay? Go back to Helgamar's list. What's the best choice for a Nurgle Ravager list? For summonable light units. I assume we're all horsemen. but the cults might rate. So the horsemen are good, but they're good because of their movement. It depends what you're looking to achieve realistically with what you're looking to summon, and that has to be situational. So it's hard to give good advice. So I would say get a toolbox of things to put in when you need them. Okay, so still dealing with Kenny's question, because the short answer is no, Kenny. Apart from the Untamed Beasts, nothing has a place in an army for any particular reason, but still worth looking. So you've got Cypher Lords, they move 6, they've got 1 wound each, they've got 6 up save. Their special ability is, while this unit includes any Thrall Masters, at the start of the combat phase, pick one enemy unit within 3 inches of this unit, and roll a dice on a 4+, subtract 1 from hit rolls to that unit till your next hero phase. The same unit cannot be affected by this ability more than once. So it's an interesting mechanic, but it's on such a fragile unit of the Cypher Lords that I don't see it being worthwhile to take. Then you've got Corvus Cabal? Hashtag Rock Gang. Moves 8 inches. He got a 6 up save as well. They're again just as bad in combat or shooting as the rest of the army units, although they do have shooting attacks. It kind of makes them twice as good. They've got Death from Above. When this unit makes a move, it can pass across terrain features in the same manner as a model that can fly. I don't know why not just give it the rules of fly, but never mind. Again, too fragile to do anything with. They don't do enough output. Now, I know that they're a chaff unit, but the Untamed Beast is a better chaff unit for what it does. Hashtag sadface. Splintered Fang, 1 wound each, 5 up save. A little bit tankier, but not as tanky as the Iron Golems. So they've got 1 cut, 1 kill. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made by this unit is a 6, the attack inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target and the attack sequence ends. They've only got 1 attack each though, and they hit on 4s. Then they've also got Snake Charmer. You can return 1 slain serpent's model to this unit in your hero phase if this unit includes a serpent caller, set up with a 1 inch. So again, same issue as the other units. Hey Warhammer Rob, happy to see you too. So the Splinter Fang have the same issue as everyone else in that they're not survivable, they don't really serve a purpose, they don't do anything useful. So there we go. And finally, the Unmade. So they've got a very cool ability. Yes, subtract 1 from the bravery characteristic of enemy units while within 6 inches of any friendly units with this ability. In addition, enemy units within 3 inches of this unit cannot retreat. Now, they've got a 6 up save, and they've only got 1 wound. This is the Unmade. So, you could potentially do something with this. Now, they're a shooting unit, effectively. So the Nightmare Sickles, 1 in every 9 models in this unit must be a Joyous 1. Add 1 to the attack characteristic of the Joyous 1's melee weapons. And 1 in every 9 models in each unit must be a Blissful 1. A Blissful 1 is armed with Nightmare Sickles instead of maiming weapons. So this unit is a shooting unit. Now, it's not a particularly good one. It's 1 attack each, hits on 4s, wounds on 4s, it hasn't got any rend. It's only got a 6 up save as well. And it's quite a low bravery of 5. However, the Frozen in Fear thing isn't a terrible thing. Now, if you've ever seen someone do this, where you put a line of chaff, so you just get a line, and then behind it, or a really tough unit that you want your opponent to not flee from, for example, and then you could put this unit of the Unmade behind them within 3 inches, so that they hit the front line, they attack, they hit it. Now, they can't retreat from that unit, or you could charge them in. I'm going to try and draw you a picture here. Just picture it. You charge them in. You charge 2 units in. You charge a combat unit, it going into your enemy's turn, a combat unit, and this unit. Now, you make sure that they do as little damage to this unit as possible, as it's terrible and it will die. Then, you make sure that when you remove casualties, you remove them so that they're still within 3 inches, but they're outside of really being dealt with in the next turn. And then you've locked them in combat. But that's a lot of effort to go through just to pin a unit back. And I, again, don't see it being useful. So looking at these units from Warcry, for me, the 2 that super stand out are the Iron Golems and the Untamed Beasts, with arguably Ungor Raiders being even better, the Untamed Beasts. So, and I don't know why I don't see more of it. It would be a super cool move to pull Grobgudda, and not hold on, Gob Rugda. Not also including the fact that you are able to do your Strike Last abilities, you're able to do your half movement abilities, you're able to do your Dark Fire Demon Rift abilities, you're able to do your I forget its name, the spell that's offense. I'm gonna have to remember a name to it. Saves to Darkness, and the spell is called anyone? The one that's offense that halves movement. But really, if you are... Movie trailers were originally shown after the movie, which is why they were called trailers. Now you know. Jonathan Atland in the chat. What up, Princess? How you doing? How are you? Not the Dark Fire Demon Rift, which is outrageously good. Apparently Nathan Prescott wants to talk about that tonight as well. It is the Realm Scourge Rupture. The Realm Scourge Rupture. And... the reason it's so good, obviously it halves movement as well. So you could do a bunch of different stuff, including the Untamed Beast units. But ultimately, not the Untamed Beast, sorry, the Warcry units. Ultimately, I don't think any of them are particularly good, with the exception of the Untamed Beasts. And Ungol Raiders may be better. There we go. What's the next question? Twitch chat. Also, what you're working on and what are you planning to take to the next tournament, where and when? That's the real question. That is the real question. I got to tell you, the game is in an interesting place with these one-drop Tzeentch lists. It's hard not to be focusing on these at the minute. It's hard not to be thinking them through and being like, what would I do in this situation? As a Tzeentch player, I feel very comfortable because I could choose to deploy the one-drop, but I feel like the Ungol Raider / Untamed Beast mechanic gives me the ability to choose different lists. So does all of Chaos, but I wonder what everyone else is feeling. Boy Phil, if you want to know about KO lists, you want to listen to Nathan Prescott tonight. He thinks he knows what they're all about. I don't agree, but that's fine, because we're not meant to agree, which is good. Rob says, I'm trying to do marble bases for my bone daddies. Definitely trying. Okay, fair enough. Ooh, Couchathron, thanks for subscribing. Welcome to the chat gang. Chat gang, chat gang. Or the grot gang, sorry. In 2017, more people were killed from injuries caused by taking a selfie than by shark attacks. The same is true in 2018 when Iron Earth Deep King was released. Jonathan, I'm writing that down for Friday. Have you heard about the joke? John, will you come on the stream on Friday so we can make jokes? It's joke day on Friday, and that's what I need you for, because that's why you're the funny one. What, for lack of a better word, metalist do you think these one drops invalidate? I think they invalidate Slash. I think they invalidate Flesh Eater Courts. So I agree with Nath, says Jonathan Atland. I believe we have a date, good sir. Oh my God! Friday, you've just heard it. It's going to be joke day. Friday, 12 o'clock. Join us. I'm looking forward to that. All right. Okay. Let's do this together. Let's go look at Flamers of Tzeentch. Okay. Let's just have a little chat about Flamers of Tzeentch. You can have a unit of 12, and it costs 480 points. If you put them in the change host, you can teleport them outside of 9. So they've got an 18-inch range shooting attack, so you have to be 9 behind your front line, and if you've got the wrong size base, looking at you, Maw Crusher, you're going to struggle to protect against it. When was the last time me and Nath agreed that something was strong and you didn't? Was it Daughters of Cain? That's true. But also I think everyone has struggled to... Listen, last time, people just are terrible at playing. And you know who you are. Anyway, Flamers of Tzeentch. So I teleport them, fine. Or I move them 9, so they've got a 27-inch threat range. Pretty scary. Yeah? Uh, they've got 3 attacks each. There's another attack that comes if you've got a general or like a captain, the pyrocaster. So from your unit of 12, you're getting 36 attacks, and you're getting 37th attack because of the pyrocaster. Now they hit on 4s, they win on 3s, they've got no rend, and they do D3 damage. Fine, not a drama. Just based on that alone, before we get into against a 4-up armor save unit, so we're going to pick Bloodthirster, Keeper of Secrets, any of those units. So we hit with half of those 37 attacks. Super annoying. So we're just going to pick 18 to make it easier. 3s to wound mean we get 12 through. They save half because it's a 4-up save, and then you do D3 damage each. So you're doing 12 flat damage from that unit of Warp Flamers. Okay? That's before we do anything else. Now, if you have an Exalted Flamer nearby, they now hit on 3s, which means they do an additional, so a third. Got to break that into thirds. Come on, everyone, help me. 24. So they do 24. Then they wound on 3s, which is balls, like live math. A third of 24, 6s. 18. So they do 18, then they get saved. They get saved on the 4+, so that's 9, and then they do D3, so that's 18 damage. Thank you. So now with just an Exalted Flamer nearby, that unit, which is very expensive, if you include the Exalted Flamer, is 580 points. They one-shot a 4-wound character, very simply. Now, that's not if we don't put them in the different hosts. Now, you can put them in the host where their rend is 1, and this exponentially increases their output because now you're only saving a third of those, so now you're starting to do some very, very serious damage. Or if you're shooting a Horde unit that's got a 4-up save, you get +1 to hit rolls if they've got 10 or more models, +2 to hit rolls if that's got 20 or more models. You can use a command ability to make them reroll 1s. So you can do some absolutely obnoxious damage, and this one unit of 12 Flamers can wipe out a Horde, can wipe out a character, can wipe out a unit. Now, unless they've got something like an Ethereal Gem, which you aren't going to kill, then the ability to just put that unit of 12 Flamers outside of someone's deployment and wipe them out, or wipe out a key piece of their army, is huge. The fact that you've got great chaff in the army as well is massive. So I think that 1-drop, how's it going to affect the meta, is there isn't really a monster that's safe, and any armies that rely, unless it's something like an Archeon, a Lariel's not safe in my opinion. I think she'll basically be dead. Not that anyone's taken her anyway. So your like key pieces that are quite important are going to get smashed pretty hard by these Flamers. So, and they're going to be in those 1-drop lists, not including Pink Horrors, which are going to do all their shooting as well. You've got the Brims and the Blue Horrors as well, which are going to do their shooting as well. So it's basically meta-defining at this stage, in my opinion. I would say it's the meta-defining army right now. Yeah, there we go. So Twitch Really Idiot asks a great question as well. At 580 points, is that worth the trade? So I wouldn't just put 12 Flamers outside my opponent's objective on the first turn and just sit there like chuckling, because you're right. I don't think it does enough damage to wipe out their ability to strike back. However, the ability to put 10 Pink Horrors in front of them, which are going to explode into 20 Blue Horrors and 20 Brimstone Horrors, is going to protect them for a turn. Which leads me into the priority role if I wanted to go first. But I think the key bit is I can make you go first, I can sit behind my screens, and I've got some obnoxious shooting that can do damage. And then I can start to put, because you can't deploy, it's just huge. If you ever played Sylvaneth, where you had to ask yourself, what happens when someone just puts 60 Dryads against me on the first turn? Can I fight my way out of that? And you got to ask yourself, can your army do that? In this situation, it's can you survive those 12 Flamers or those 24 Flamers? I don't think that's the right decision for the other player to do, but they could. Can I deal with that? Like, they don't have to even do that. They could just put down. Honestly, man, there's loads of options. So let's see. Do you think the Disciples of Zinch Errata FAQ will be as big as the last one? Seems like the book have raised a lot of questions. It hasn't. It's not a very complicated book, John. The rules are pretty clear in most situations. They've taken a lot of the oddities out, like the changeling and other stuff. So it's not a very confusing book. It's just got some very obviously strong options which seem like an oversight. So I don't know if that's going to be the case. I don't know. But I'm interested to find out when that drops. I think that's going to be interesting. I think it will define. Now, a lot of people are saying, like as I've said, that maybe the Seraphon book balances it out. Maybe the Light Elves balance it out. But that doesn't really help all the armies that it really hinders. Another meta-defining army, in my personal opinion, is Ironjaws. So the Ironjaws have got a command ability that allows them to move in the hero phase, and then obviously they can move in the movement phase as well. This is terrifying on a Maw Crusher who can move 24 inches and then charge. So if you see a Maw Crusher on the board with an Ironjaws army, it can basically go anywhere and then charge. And it does terrifying damage. So you have to ask yourself, do you have enough board control to stop a Maw Crusher going so far? And a lot of armies don't put that down. So again, I think that's another meta-defining army. I'm going to talk more about this on Thursday in the archetypes chat. We're going to have a conversation about different army archetypes and how they work, and I'm going to give some examples of those on Thursday. So I'm really looking forward to that show, actually. Angle says they haven't resolved the Carrick Acolytes. All the models have shields, but in the rules they don't issue a question only I care about. I think it's a fair question to ask, though, right? Yes. We're coming like we've just had a lot of book releases, so there's lots of new news to go through, and also some like interesting rules combinations. For instance, the Activation Wars is genuinely frustrating at this stage. Someone put a new picture in Discord. Tough years. Rambo Squirrel, I missed the joke. If you have any dwarf armies on your stream, can you say, I hear the Chaos Dwarves have started planting Viagra in their opponent's end of the battlefield? Why, you ask? Will they have trouble getting up there? Yes, Rambo Squirrel, save those jokes. Save those jokes for Friday. I can't wait for them. I cannot wait for them. Oh, yeah, what's Tuffy is put a picture up of? Because I want to see it. It looks rad. Oh, man. Yeah, I take that. Yeah, that looks good. Archeon, some Chaos Knights, all the Ender spells. Oh, dear. It's going down. Yeah, I think Chaos are a strong army. Great question from Scrivo. What's better, a Mangler Squig or a Colossal Squig? So Mangler Squig can go inside of a battalion, so that's a good bonus for it, Scrivs. And it's got 12 wounds with a 4-up save, and it moves 3d6 inches. What's the points for them as well? Well, Jonathan Allen says Mangler. Maybe he'll give us as to why. Let's go into some bit of destruction and some blues by Gits. Normally, John, though, the situation is that the War Scroll from Forge World is never as good, but we can see right now. So Colossal Squig is 300, and the Mangler is Colossal Squig 300. Mangler Squig is 240. 240. So he's got 4 attacks that hit on 3s, win on 3s, Ren 1 doing d6 damage. Wow, Mangler Squigs. Let's go. Then the Balls and Chains is 7 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren 2 d3 damage. And then the Grot Bastion Stick, 4 attacks, 4s, 4s, no Ren 1 damage. Arguably the most important output. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made this model's Balls and Chains if it made a charge, so it would be hitting on 2s and 3s. If this model is slain before the model is removed from play, roll dice. For each unit within 6 inches of this model on a 4+, suffers d3 mortal wounds. Mangler Squig is really good. Colossal Squig, though. Colossal Squig. No, that's not how you spell colossal, apparently, which is sad. Woohoo! Colossal Squig has got move of 46, so it moves further. It's got 16 wounds and a 5-up save. It's got a little shooty attack, some puff spores, cute. Enormous Jaws, it's got 8 attacks that hit on 2s, wound on 3s, Rend 2 does D3 damage, and then it's got 10 trampling hits, 5s, 3s, Rend 1, 1 damage. No, so basically the Colossal Squig doesn't even do as much damage as the Mangler Squig. So it's got to be about the Mangler Squig for me. The Mangler Squig is decent. Why are we not running 4 Mangler Squigs? What are they, 240 points? 240? I'll take 240. I'll take 240. That's pretty badass. It's pretty badass. Terrifying. Yeah. I'm all about the Mangler Squigs. Yes, I like them. They fly. Afternoon 8 paint is our painting. How you doing? And also, yeah, Jonathan makes a good point as well. The Colossal Squig moves 46 inches. So if you roll it and you go really far, and because it flies, you might be able to drop into the backfield, which your opponent is not expecting. And then you might be able to take out some key characters at the back. However, you are relying on luck to catch your opponent out, so it's as likely to happen as not happen, right? Tristan, these are your human Phoenix Guard. Oh man, they look amazing. What are they? Are they? They're the super into those Stormcast halberds, human heads, and then the bodies from the Necromunda gang, the Enforcers. They are radical. Look at them. If you guys can see on the screen there, that is a wicked picture. That's cool as fuck, man. Yeah, I'm rating that. Seeds of Sigmar got to be the best book for those combos, right? For just being able to build what you like. The Necromunda Palatine Enforcers. Yeah, I rate them. I rate them a lot. Oh man, they are so sweet. Really, really good. Really nice. Like, make sure you send us some pictures when, some photos when they're done, and I'll tweet them out. They are wicked. Can we all talk about the fact that Duncan Rhodes is just like fully just doing what the fuck he likes on Twitter, and it's hilarious, and I love it forever. It's just the best. It's just the best. Like, I've worked in advertising for a long time and worked in advertising for Games Workshop. I can't tell you how much money I would have paid him to stay at Games Workshop and never tweet about another game. And I know for a fact that they didn't offer him any more money when he handed in his resignation. So I know that. That's an insider scoop. And that blows my fucking mind, because the man is single-handedly being like, you ever play Bolt Action? And everyone in the world is being like, I have never played Bolt Action. Tell me more, Duncan. I like you. That sounds great. He's like, have you ever looked at this Viking Saga game? I'm like, no, I haven't. And it's getting retweeted to shit. He is single-handedly destroying, because they are all about like Starbucks, McDonald's, like market saturation. They're like, oh, you want a plane game on hexes? No problem, Aeronautica. Oh, you want a small mini Titan game? Titanicus. You want a small 40k game? You want a small like fantasy game? Like, you want any of these little things? Because you look at some of those game systems, you think they can't be making that much money, but that's not what they're doing. They're flooding the market with models. And then Dunk's just like, ah, man, have you seen this system? Sweet. And everyone's like, yeah, great. And it would cost you like an extra 20 grand, maybe. I don't even know what it would cost. Like, the guy must have been on less than 30k English money. So you just give him like fucking twice as much money to shut the fuck up. Done. Just be like, what do you want to do? Paint models for a living and make tutorials? He'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, cool. 60 grand. There you go. Fuck off, son. Like, stay, like... It's bonkers. It's some of the worst management of a human I've ever seen. It's probably the biggest misplay Games Workshop has made since they released a game without points, which arguably turned into a good thing. Would he come on the show? I haven't asked him. Because I don't want him to. I don't want him to think that I'll ask him. But I like Duncan, and I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable by having to say no. So I'll offer and see if he says. Scrivo, I dug up my World War II Germans after seeing it. See? You can't argue with that market presence. You can't argue with that influence. You just pay him money. It's bonkers. Like, and if he isn't getting money off these companies, they are laughing all the way to the bank. It looks like he had a ton of stuff dammed up for a couple of years and he's letting go now. He is letting loose. And it's some of the funniest shit I have seen in a long time. I'd fire someone. If I was the CEO or the manager of the manager of Duncan, I'd just fire that guy. I'd be like, that's the worst decision I've ever seen someone make. You're fired. Like, straight off the bat. Terrible. Terrible. Like, unless there was no way to convince him to stay. Anyway. Are you sure he's not looking for new stuff to do? I'm pretty certain Dunk's going to be a commission payer, but I don't know. Because he can just charge the earth for it, right? Anyway. It looks like he's had... Yeah, anyway. But I just wanted to talk about it for a moment because it's been chuckling. It's been making me fucking chuckle. When I see him putting up, like, some... what is he... Let's just see what he's just posted up because it's fucking got me in bits at the minute. Let's go have a look. Rhodesy. Duncan. Okay, right. So, the first thing, he just retweeted something from Velatron, which is great because Velatron's amazing. So, some sort of game he's put, and he's retweeted Vince Ventrella. Why wouldn't you? And then he's just painted up some bolt action, guys, for 500 likes. Just so, like, that would just have had so much traction. So, I might play some bolt action now. Just hilarious. Anyway. Yeah, he's just into bolt action apparently. It's X-Wing. He's getting messages to put up X-Wing shit. That's the worst decision I've ever seen. Anyway, what do you guys think of it? I do hope he leverages the capital now to make a mint because he deserves it. I agree. In total, there are 205 bones and skeleton of a horse. That is also how many millions Games Workshop lost this year. Duncan resigned. Right. I got to get going because I've got some big shit to be doing this week. So I hope you've enjoyed today. I've enjoyed today. I love talking to you guys. Friday, Jokes Day. Thursday, Army Archetypes. Wednesday, I'll be doing some hobby. I'm setting up myself a little hobby area over there. Tomorrow, I'm doing my show on Phoenixes, which is going to be rad. So please join me for that because they're pretty cool. And that's it. Hobby on Wednesday. I'm going to do hobbies every Wednesday now because it's easier for me. I DJ on Tuesday night. I'll get into the flow. Obviously, these shows won't be on next week because I'll be flying. Apart from Tuesday and Wednesday, I might be able to do them. And if we get signal on the road on Thursday, they might be possible to do as well. Could also possibly do one on Friday, but I'll be setting up at Cancon. So, and don't forget, it's Cancon in 11 days, which is really nerve-wracking at this stage. Or is it 14? I don't remember. Anyway, you guys have been great. Please join us later because Nathan and James Powell... That's right, the merch grot himself, so our custom merch grot will be joining us. We'll be talking about the Kharadron Overlords book. I don't have loads to say about it that's positive, but Nathan seems to completely disagree with me. So it's that kind of that thing when you're in your own head about something. We'll see what gets unlocked. We'll see what people think about it. However... Tristan, the long story short on the Phoenix chat is the Frosted Heart Phoenixes are incredibly efficient and useful. However, the Flamespire Phoenixes are got to be some of the most fun units in the game. And just having two, if you take the non-anointed version, which is 400 points, which isn't tons, you can do 10 mortal wounds by just flying over stuff. Find out more about that tomorrow, but it's just mind-bogglingly cool. Just, whoop, yeah? And it's not a lot of points. Not a lot of points to be doing that. And then if they die, 4+, the whole unit comes back. It's just wicked. Like, crazy good. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Anyway, you guys have a good day. See you tonight. Make sure you join us. Grot Gang, Chat Gang. Yeah, that's how I'm ending now, I think.